Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mac and Talk number 50. Wow, we've had 50 of these. I am Chanelle Allen, your facilitator, and I am joined by Herbie Allen and possibly Brad later. Either way, we're all here together to learn from each other. This is an open forum Q&A conference call for anyone with Mac questions. Whether you are considering the purchase of one, maybe you don't even have a Mac and you're just curious to learn more, or you could be just getting started with voiceover and need some help over that initial overwhelming hurdle of getting started. Or you could be a longtime Mac user with some questions about an app or a feature. For whatever reason you are calling, I'm glad that you're joining us tonight, now, or later on via the podcast recording. And first of all, we will go over some of the happenings at iBug today in our social media. Then we will do introductions, and after that, we'll get to your questions. So, our website is ibugtoday.org. There, you can learn more about who we are and what we do. You can register to become a member. Registration is entirely free. Participating in all of our trainings is entirely free. And all you need to do is just fill out the form. Registering will give you access to emails letting you know of our upcoming events. There's also a calendar on the website that shows the events for the month. September's will be posted shortly and emailed. Also, you can look or listen to previous recordings of our workshops and go to the Mac and Talk link, which has my contact info as well as information on how to join the Mac and Talk email list. We also have a Facebook page, which is facebook.com/groups/ibugtoday. That's a great place to exchange information in between sessions, ask questions, and post things that might be helpful to others. On X, that's such a weird name, and Instagram, we are at iBugToday. And Twitter, Herbie Allen posts lots of great Apple news, tech deals, and even, several Mac how-to guides and things. You can, if you want to listen to our podcast, there's a number of ways on the website, as I already mentioned. Also putting iBug Buzz, iBug Mac and Talk, iBug Apple Workshop, and iBug Cafe into your favorite podcast app or catcher or smart speaker of choice. And then there's also our YouTube channel. As far as things coming up this week, I don't remember if we have anything else, Trekkie Talk this week, but on Friday, we have iBug Night at the Virtual Movies beginning at 7:30. With the pre-movie social where we just have lots of fun and do music trivia and jokes and things. And then the movie is at 8. Um, and I am blanking on the name of the movie, something about when a man and a woman met or something. So you'll want to just go and check it out. And then after the movie there is a discussion. Oh yes, on Thursday night we have It's iBug's Life. And I believe the topic is better safe than sorry. It's all about being safe in your home and while traveling. And then Saturday, I'm sorry, we have iBug Unplugged. And it's about remembering those old things we used, record players and old phones and all that stuff. I was just barely glanced at the subject line, but that takes place from 7 to 9. All of these are on the same Zoom line. The It's iBug's Life on Thursday is from also 7 to 9. And definitely every Monday, join us for iBug Buzz. It is a Q&A conference call where this time we go over iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, any of those other devices that do not include the Mac, and we get to go over your questions with those. And then we have Clubhouse next Tuesday. We'll have iBug Mac Buzz, which is a mini kind of version of this call for your Mac questions. So I think I've pretty much covered everything, probably in way more detail than you wanted to know, but let's go ahead and get on to our introductions. Just say your name, where you're calling from, and let me know if this is your first time joining us for Mac and Talk.
This is Herbie in Houston, and it feels like it is just because it's been so long. And yes, to the person who was asking earlier, I did have a gig, but I love you guys enough that I wanted to make changes, and I was finally able to. So, yay, and I'll quit talking now.
This is Pete, and I'm in Florida, and welcome back, Herbie.
Welcome, Pete.
This is Gail in Houston.
Welcome, Gail.
Thank you.
Brad. I'm in
Hi,
Dallas.
Brad.
And I made Hervey's changes possible.
Yes, you did.
No, I'm kidding.
Yes, he did. Brad was the one that was willing to listen to me and say,
Well, I'm just glad you're here.
yeah.
Oh, Sandhya, yay. Glad you could be here. Yay.
Hi, it's Vanessa from Georgia.
Oh, Vanessa, welcome.
Hi. Judy from Connecticut.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, guys.
Mary Ellen
Patrick in
Earls.
Connecticut. Oh, sorry.
Okay, Mary Ellen and Patrick, welcome. And who else was?
Priscilla from Arlington.
Welcome, Priscilla. Glad to have you here too.
Love you guys. Okay.
You too. Love you too.
Hi, this is Brian out in Tempe, Arizona.
Yeah, Brian, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Kiana from Houston, and this is my first time.
Oh, welcome, Kiana. We're glad to have you. Yay. How did you hear about us?
Um, I'm through Haven, at the
Okay,
Haven workshop.
great. And do you have a Mac?
I just set it up last week,
Oh, wonderful.
so I'm kind of new to this.
Oh, well, welcome. You're at the right place. And since you're new and you're welcome to be one of the first to ask a question. We try to reserve the first part for new people and new questions if you want to ask, and if not, that's fine too. But is that everyone? Did we get through everyone?
Janet in Colorado.
Oh, yes. Hi, Janet.
Hello.
Brian from Ontario, Canada.
Oh, that's okay. I thought I saw two Brians. Welcome.
Well, it's the Brian and Brian show.
Yeah, there you go. And do you have a Mac? I'm not sure if you've been on this call before, Brian, or maybe am I wrong? Have you been on here before, Brian in
Yeah,
Canada?
I've been in a couple of times,
Okay,
and
all right. I'm sorry.
I'm just looking at getting a Mac in the fall
Oh,
because, well, I'm going to give my laptop to my wife. My Windows,
ah,
and
okay.
I think I'm not positive yet.
You're not positive. Well, we maybe we'll convince you. Maybe we'll give you some things to think about. Maybe
Yeah,
whatever. At any time, ask questions, or if you have them, now you can ask. So I think that's everybody. So now let's go ahead and open it up for questions. Who would like to ask our first question?
This is Sandhya.
Yay, Sandhya.
But
Go
I can
ahead.
wait. I don't want to be a hog.
No, go ahead. You put your name in first. Go ahead.
Okay, so I got a new Mac. I got an M2, and I'm setting it
Yay,
up.
me too.
And I'm great, cool. And so I'm trying to set up my signatures. And I don't know why. I thought I've done it before, but it's proving to be really confusing. So I don't know what I'm doing
Signatures.
wrong.
I
On the email.
assume okay,
Email.
you're using the regular mail app.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I went into the signature tab, and then I kept saying add, and then I typed in something, and then it would just, I don't know, I just kept, I don't know what I
This is
got lost.
Brad.
Yes, Brad.
Yeah, it is a little confusing. When you go in there, there's a table. You first get to a table, and it has a list of your mail accounts. I mean, I got several accounts. Um, there's something at the top that says all signatures. Then I got a ATT Yahoo, a Gmail, and Outlook.com. But anyway, go to the one that you're using. In my case, it'd be ATT Yahoo, and yours, I guess, is Gmail, right?
Yes.
And then, so select that account. Now stop interacting with that list. VO right arrow till you get to the add button and select add. And now you should be, I think you may have to VO backwards to it and get to the edit area.
Right.
And then interact with that. You may find it's easier almost to go into text edit, write out whatever you want, or that way it's all set up, ready to go, and you just paste it in. But you could type it in there. I always put a blank space at the beginning and maybe one or two at the end, so that if there's a reply message or forward, there's something between my signature and whatever I'm replying to or forwarding. Then when you're done, you're done. There's no save button. There's no anything. I think when you do hit add, it takes you to a middle column between the select a mail account and where you edit the area. That's right. And it gives it a name. Like it may call it signature one or something like that. So you can edit the name right there. But if you don't edit it, then you can edit it later. But
you have to get out of it before. It's just a name of the signature.
Correct.
Then, like Brad said, you have to get into that table to actually put what's going to go
type
in your
what
signature.
You want.
Yeah.
And if you want to use a different font or stuff like that, I just use the standard font. There is something down there. Then there's some check boxes at the bottom. If you have more than one signature, it'll ask you which one do you want to be your default signature.
Right.
Yeah.
Some stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's tricky, but it's once you do it a time or two, you'll like, okay, this makes sense.
I did it like 5 times and I was going in circles. So I thought I'd better call and ask this group. So thank you.
This is Pete with a follow-up.
Sure, go ahead, Pete.
Sandhya, you said you went into the signature tabs. Is that where in the email app would you find that signature tab?
It's under like preferences or something. I think I did.
Under preferences, and you select a category.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty obvious, easy to find.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how I got, but there were several things there: rules, behavior, all kinds of things there.
Oh, okay.
And if I may interject, welcome, Diane. We do not do raised hands here, but if you want to say something, the way we do it is you just find a break in the conversation and say your name, and then I say, sure, Diane, go ahead, and then you say your question and or comment or whatever, and then that's how we do things. So, did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a question. And I kind of jumped in a little late.
Well,
so
let me finish this topic and then
first. Yeah.
Then we'll go to your question. Okay.
Yeah, I have a new one. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So, was there any other comments on this one before we go on? All right. Well, Sonia, it sounds like Brad's given you a step there to try. And yeah, it's when you don't do it in a while, it's like, okay, how do I do this? And they don't lay it out super easy, but once you get it, you'll get it and it's not too bad. So, all right. So then, Diane, let's hear your question.
Oh my goodness. That was so quick. Thank you. Hi. Hello, everyone. I have a question regarding VoiceOver in Microsoft Word. And sometimes you have a very long document and I'm wanting to be able to either establish like a heading that I can jump to or a bookmark I can jump to. For instance, I want to go to chapter 13, which might be halfway down page 52 of a document. And, so I need to kind of go to those key points, and I haven't been able to figure out how to establish certain text like a chapter title as some kind of bookmark that I'm able to jump around to. Does that question?
It does make sense. Now, is this a document you're creating or a document that you're just trying to navigate?
It's a document I'm creating, and I need to be able to I need to be able to edit and get and move and shift, yeah.
Yeah, so marking chapters with headings is a great idea. And I think so. One thing you can do in Word that I just kind of discovered um, is once you find the style you want in the styles gallery, then there's a way to go into more and create a shortcut for it. There's also a way to insert, like in Windows, you can do heading styles with with Alt Control 1. And I think on the Mac, it's Option Command 1 for heading 1, Command Option 2 for heading 2. But they seem to put in a bit of extra formatting, like paragraph list styles and stuff. So um, I haven't played around with that too much, but that's definitely one way. Does anybody else know of?
This is Brad.
Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Well, rather than fool with styles, which are nice, but they put in sometimes stuff you don't want, is as you're typing, you can always just use a certain font size or bold it or whatever whenever you begin a section or a heading, a chapter in this case. Then once you've got it in there, you just go back and you highlight it, and then you can, I believe there's a keyboard command, like you said, to apply a heading to that line of text, and now it becomes a heading. And that way, when you're navigating the document, you can make all headings at, I don't know, say heading level, all chapters, heading level 3. And so you can just navigate forwards or backwards, or there's also the go to dialogue that can open. And
Do you know how to establish? So I can highlight text. I know how to do that, but I don't know how to use the menu to tag it as a heading.
So what you would do is, as either you can press the keyboard command before you type or select the heading later on, and then you would do Command Option 1 or Command Option 2.
Okay.
And that's heading level 1, heading level 2. Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, after you highlight it, select the text.
No, you can actually set it before you type.
Yeah, but if I've already typed and I'm going back and doing it, that's
if you're going back.
And then
because if I set the heading and then I type, I got to remember to turn the heading off.
No, you don't. You just press Enter.
It doesn't continue
and then
on?
how do you search for that heading later, let's say?
So that's where we can use certain commands. There's like the voiceover rotor, the VOU, or you can do VO Command H to go to your next heading, VO Command Shift H to go to your previous heading.
I'm not sure that works in Word.
Yeah, I think
because there's the go-to
as long as the document is formatted correctly, it should.
I'm not sure, but there's a go-to dialog box, and then you go to different things. You can set bookmarks within a document. You can set different things, but one of them is headings, and then you'll find a list of headings. It's within Word, though.
Okay.
But I have to play with that more. I have to, admittedly.
Yeah, it's I was trying to find it and figure it out, and I tried YouTube University, and it was all visual. You had to be able to see the screen to follow what they were doing, and so
as you
thank you very much. I will try all of these things, and I'll keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah, and as you're in the class, you will learn, because you're registered to take my class, you will learn some more voiceover navigation techniques and tips for getting around. And so
yes, I'm really excited to join your class. Thank you so much for offering it. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. Great. Thank you. Who has our next question?
Hi, it's Vanessa.
Oh, Vanessa.
Hi. So I do have a Mac computer, something else I was blessed with, something new. I have no idea what to do with this Mac. Should I first learn the keyboard? Because I know, like, on the regular keyboard it's the Alt key, but it's not that on the Mac, and I keep hearing about the VA or VO something.
So do you have is it a laptop that you have, or?
Yes, I have a laptop. Yeah.
All right. So when you open the laptop, and the very bottom of the keyboard, well, below the keys is going to be your trackpad. But
Yes.
when you're on the keyboard, the far left-hand corner key, that is the FN. Now, if you move to the space bar, um, to the left of the space, so is the command key. So at the very, very left, you
Yes.
have FN, and then you move over to the right is Control, Option, Command, and Space. But if you go
Okay.
from space to the left, you got Space, Command, Option, Control, and FN. Now, when you open your computer, VoiceOver should start talking, unless did somebody already set the computer up for you?
Yes, it is talking when I open it up. Yes.
Okay. And so it should guide, did it ask you to go through the tutorial?
Oh, I don't remember. I haven't.
Okay.
For about 2 weeks, I haven't done it yet. I have to open it up again.
Okay.
Okay.
Because to get to the tutorial, the thing that would highly recommend is going to that voiceover tutorial. And
Okay.
so you'll want to press your either your caps lock key. Sometimes I find that
Okay.
easier. That's two keys right above your FN key. So you got the
Mhm.
FN and control. Then up above is shift and then caps lock.
Mhm.
And then you
Yes.
press the
Okay.
letter H, and that'll bring
Okay.
up, when VoiceOver is on, that will bring up the help menu. And you will
Oh.
then
Okay.
find your down arrow, and that's the same
I know what that
space on
is.
a keyboard, and go down until it says quick start tutorial, and then
Oh.
you'll find
Okay.
your enter key, and that
Yes.
will guide you
Okay.
through, and it will bring up keyboard help, and that will guide you through learning the basics of voiceover.
Oh. Okay. Oh. Okay. Great.
It's
Thank
a real,
you.
yeah, they kind of present you
Oh.
with a lot at once, but it's a good way to get started. And I should have
Okay.
asked, does anybody else want to give any suggestions or feedback or?
Okay. Okay. Well, that's a start. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
And there's
you.
lots of great resources. I highly recommend the website AppleVis, AppleVis.com.
Mhm.
There's
Uh-huh.
tons
I
of,
know
there's a
it.
getting started with the Mac section on there, and there's tons of
Oh.
useful information.
Oh, yes, yes. And I do know that you guys are doing a class. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to commit to it because I have something, but I do know there's a class coming up with you guys too.
Yeah.
uh,
Um,
mhm, in
yeah. So
September.
unfortunately, it probably wouldn't work
Okay.
this time, but yeah. All right.
Yeah. Thank you, darling. Okay.
Thank you.
hmm
So who would like to ask our next question?
Hi, this is Brian. I have a question.
Yeah, Brian, go ahead.
Thank you. This actually concerns I'm sure some of you are familiar with Bookshare, reading books.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I used to read books using the Victor Stream, and when I was at the university, that they provided, it was great. But now that I left there, I decided, man, I'd love to use my MacBook. I have a MacBook Air, 2 years old. I love it, and I'd love to use Mac, but I just like a couple tips on maybe how to get through Bookshare real quick if anybody uses it, but more what formats to save the book in if there are choices.
Ah,
What's the best thing to read a Bookshare book with in a format on the MacBook? That's my question.
that is entirely up to somebody's personal. I could say what I like to do,
Oh,
but
I'd love to hear it.
um, but who else is anybody else familiar with Bookshare? And so I'm not doing all the talking here. Does anyone want to give some feedback on Bookshare on the Mac? I do believe I hear my partner in the other room hurrying to his computer to answer. So, um, let's see. Or was.
Herbie, please hurry. Thank you.
All right, let's try that.
Yes. Go ahead, Herbie.
All right, so Bookshare, there are two steps to using it. Now, do you need help with the formats or navigating the site as well?
Well, I'll take any help, but especially formats, because sometimes I actually called their tech support and it was very confusing. I said, I'll forget it. I'm gonna
Okay,
get more help
so
from you guys. So thank you.
Bookshare is very easy to use on the Mac. You need to be logged in. So first of all, when you go into the site, make sure the first thing you do is log in. It's going to be a nightmare to use otherwise.
Got it.
Then, okay, are you an advanced Mac user, intermediate?
Yeah, certainly intermediate. I mean, I'm
So do I
comfortable.
need, like, if I tell you to go use a shortcut to find an edit field, do you need me to tell you the shortcut, or do you know how to do that?
I mean, I would go in the menu and just find it. Is that what you mean?
No, this is actually so there's a number of ways to do it. I recommend with your quick nav off and do VO Command J to get to the search edit field.
Okay.
And then type in the book you want, hit enter. And then you're gonna use your heading navigation to kind of get to the results. I recommend you have a display in list view and table view. And then you're gonna see the book, your book results, and then next to each book is a download button.
Oh,
and so
I see.
When you get to that, so you're going to download the book. Now, formats. I recommend you download it in the original XML format, or not XML. It's in a Daisy text format.
Daisy,
And then when that file downloads, you're going to open it with Command O. It's a zip file.
Okay.
So you're going to open it. It's going to extract and create a folder with a lot of files in it. And in that file, you're looking for an XML file. It's going to have like the book title, should have the book title, and they'll say .xml. And you're going to make sure you're showing file names, by the way, because for this to work. So you're going to need to hit enter on that .xml file and change the X to HTM. To HT, so it'll read .html.
Oh yeah,
it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to do this? Tell it yes. And tell it, it'll ask if you want to keep both or change. Just tell it you want to change it, and then move that HTML file out of that folder, and put it somewhere you can get easy. It's going to then open in Safari, and you'll be able to use simple navigation techniques like headings and stuff. Some books will be more trickier than others. Alternatively, you can do Microsoft Word format. I don't like that because you have no shortcut access really whatsoever or anything like that. That's why I like the HTML version. And it doesn't require any special software, and it works on any web browser. So that is my recommendation.
That is great. So Herbie, change XML to HTML.
Yes.
The bottom line.
Yep.
That is great.
And the good thing is you have the original zip file too, so if it does somehow get corrupted, you've not lost anything because you've still got the original zip file.
I like it.
This is Brad.
Yes, go ahead, Brad.
Hey, Herbie, what happens if you leave it as XML? I know that's a file format recognized by Microsoft Word.
It tries to read it as a program. It tries to read it as a program, not as a readable document.
It won't open it in Word?
No.
Okay.
At least, okay, to be fair, I've not tried that on the Mac. On Windows, it definitely tried to read it as an executable. I don't know. I've never tried that on the Mac, actually, come to think of it, so.
Yeah, because they introduced that in 2003, I believe, as a Word would save in that. Anyway. Maybe you could get
I'll have to give that a try.
You might try open with and see what.
You can do open with, but then it's going to show the code, and I only do.
I was just remember that when Word 2003 came out, that was the format they introduced, and it had live elements in it before they came out with DocX. So I just
you have to it. Instructions I've seen in several places say to change it to HTML. So.
Yeah, that makes complete sense because then you can navigate it like a web page for sure. Anyway,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Great. Well, yep, and that's the same format I use, by the way. I tend to, read my books elsewhere, but if I was reading on the Mac, I would totally just download the Daisy. And before the download button is the combo box or pop it, whatever, where you would choose Daisy with text, or they have other formats in there, BRF, Doc, EPUB. Um, you can even they can even convert the books to audio text, but it's being read by whatever speech synthesis they have. So, all right. Who would like to ask the next question?
This is Diane with another question, if I
Sure, go
might.
ahead, Diane. Yeah.
I'm just wondering about two keyboard commands. One is, how do I get to my desktop? And how do I get to find file?
Well, yeah. Okay. So, who knows how to get to the desktop? I know many of you here do know.
This is Gail.
Yes, Gail.
Is it VO Shift D?
It is. Yep, with voiceover on, VO Shift D. That's Caps Lock Shift D or Control Option Shift D. Um, and then finding a file. Well, if you know the name of the file, you can always type that, or part of the words in the file. You can go into Spotlight, which is Command Space, and type part of the file name there. Otherwise, you can browse. Files are typically probably saved most to your documents or downloads, or some things even get saved to the desktop, which they really shouldn't be saved there, but they do end up there. So,
Yeah.
That
They mostly have folders. They're within folders. So it's
right,
kind
but those
of,
folders should not be on the desktop.
oh, mine are. Yeah.
Okay, because
Yeah.
the problem is that the desktop uses your RAM, and it's always open. It's not. It's the desktop is kind of a graphical representation, so of the stuff that's on your computer. So it's better to be able to have the stuff be in folders on your Mac rather than just dumped on the desktop. But that's always something to work on, and it's a convenient spot for things, but it may, with
Yeah.
time, slow down your Mac. So,
Okay.
but some common folder locations like Command Shift O. If you're on your desktop, you can do Command Shift O to get to your documents. Command Option L to go to your downloads. Command Shift C will show you all of the drives connected to your Mac, or so your internal storage and the external drives if
I'm
anything's
sorry,
connected.
that's Command Shift what?
C.
C shows your drives.
Yep. C is in computer. Yep.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Brad,
Yeah, Brad.
tell her about the Go menu in Finder.
Yes, there is the Go menu as well. If you go into the menu bar, you can VOM and right arrow over to Go, and that shows a bunch of different folder locations on your Mac.
And all
The
those
ones I've
keyboard commands
mentioned,
she was
and all the
talking about.
keyboard commands. Yep.
Brad, another handy one, since you've got a bunch of stuff on your desktop. If you're on your desktop, you do Command up arrow. It will show you your desktop in a Finder window.
Oh.
And all those things are now manageable like they are in a regular Finder window. And you can
that's a good
easily.
So I'm sorry, wait, it'll show you your desktop once you're in where?
If you're on your desktop and you just do Command up arrow, it's going to open a Finder window and you're going to see the contents of the desktop.
Okay.
So then you can then easily move all those items to a better location if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I think I'll need some help for moving things around. I kind of
I
got into
learned.
that habit when I was sighted, and I was just that's when it opened, and I could go right to where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And now it's causing problems because it's hard for me to get there. Yeah.
You'll get there. You'll get
Yeah,
there.
What happened
yeah,
to you?
yeah, yeah. Thank you. I may have to ask you that again in class if I can't
That's
figure it out.
fine. Well, we're going to go over that type of stuff. So, yep.
Okay, perfect.
You'll be
Thank you.
good. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. All right. Who would like to ask the next question? Well, I know some of us got new Macs. I just recently got one last week, the M2 MacBook Pro, the 14-inch. Um, and I like it so far. I it's definitely, in some things, it's faster than my last one. I mean, it boots up faster. I think it really just depends on how well the programs make use of its resources, but it has the keyboard's definitely much. I still prefer to use an external keyboard, but the keyboard is better than that the old the MacBook Pro 2017 that I had. Um, there's more space between the keys. One thing I noticed that was when I was setting this up for the first time is the fingerprint sensor. Instead of being squarish, it's more round. So that's different. And what else? I don't know, but if anybody wants to talk about new Macs and what I think Sonia got one and Mary Ellen just bought herself a Mac Studio, and so um, This is the place to rant and rave about your new Mac or ask questions if anything's not working right or whatever suits.
This is Diane. I just
Yeah,
wanted to throw
Diane.
in. I got a new MacBook Air. I think it's an M2 back in January of this year,
Okay, great.
and I love it. I mean, it's really fun. I had some difficulties with it in the beginning where my hands were interfering with the trackpad, and
Yes.
I
Oh,
kept
that
kind
gets
of
so
having
annoying.
some. Yeah, so that was a bit of a challenge, but anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
you might want to talk on that. Um, but otherwise, I love it. Uh, it's been a great computer.
Yeah, that's one reason I use an external keyboard and um then I can just kind of keep it plugged in. But yeah, so you can definitely make the trackpad. VoiceOver has what's called a trackpad commander. And so if you turn that on, that makes it so the trackpad can be used for voiceover commands. It's
Mm-hmm.
basically holding down your VO keys, and if you're familiar with voiceover on the iPhone, doing the rotor gesture, but doing the rotor gesture on that iPad. Um,
Uh-huh.
and that makes it work for voiceover commands.
Right. One thing a problem I ran into was um, I would turn my speech off accidentally,
Oh,
and
yes.
then would call Apple Accessibility, and I went through like this really crazy series of things in the system settings and this, that, and the other. And finally, it probably took half an hour or more to sort it out when I could have just double clicked on my trackpad.
Yeah, a
Like,
three fingered.
which is like what you do on your phone, right? If your speech
Right.
went
Yep.
off. So
Yep.
I realized, oh, I can put my screen curtain on and off and my
Yeah.
voice on and off. And so I
Yeah.
called them back to tell them, I said, no, 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 this is how you do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they don't know. They're a great resource sometimes, but then sometimes they don't know. So, yeah.
This is
They're
Herbie.
wonderful. I'm so happy to have, I can't complain because it's just
Okay.
They're
That's good.
they're yeah, it's an
That's good.
incredible resource. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead, Herbie.
So, a couple things. First of all, one of the things I've kind of learned a little bit with Apple accessibility, I think they're great for when something is not working right because they can actually see what's going on. I wouldn't use them for, I'd be more leery about asking them for general help, but if you're trying to show them unexpected behavior, they might be good for that. Now, I personally have never dealt with them, but I was going to shift topics because we were talking about Amadeus Pro at to the beginning of the call.
Yes.
And I wanted to mention just something that to know if you're ever thinking about purchasing Amadeus Pro, because there was talk about the App Store version versus like the regular website version. There's two big differences. The biggest one has to do with the trial period. You cannot get the free trial if you get the App Store version, and so um that's something to know. That's why we went with the website version because you get the 30-day free trial, and that is one of the best trials I've ever seen of a program too, because it will let you do everything with it for that 30 days. So that's something you do need to know when looking at that. And then, of course, the other thing is, like sometimes the website version they can push out updates if they want to quicker than the App Store version. But the big difference is the 30-day free trial. Now that being said, I wonder if like the App Store version is M1 compatible, and because that would be cool in a way. Like, and it's a pity you can't transition from one to the other. Like, but
It is.
Yeah,
it
this is
is.
Pete.
Yep.
So this is Chanelle, and I'm just when I went to the website, I had to download it, and then I was asked to, allow my computer to open Rosetta, because there was not an Amadeus Pro on the website that was specifically M1 compatible.
This is Pete.
Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
I had gotten mine through the app stores many years ago, 6, 7, when I first got it, and I've been
Okay.
using it for 6 or 7 years. And one difference there at that point, and I think it's since been resolved, is that it did not have a ringtones option on I think it was a file menu, and it had been referred to in a tutorial, a book that I had gotten, the Jonathan Mosen Amadeus Pro Maestro, or Becoming an Amadeus Pro Maestro, which is an excellent resource. But he
Oh,
had referred to doing ringtones using Amadeus, and there was a specific ringtones menu option. I think it was in the file menu, but that was not present in the App Store version, which is minor. I figured out how to do it anyway. But yeah, I'm using that same version that I purchased that many years ago on my M1 Mac Mini. So yeah, it seems to
okay.
work fine. I
Well,
don't remember the trial at the time, Herbie. I don't. I think I had done some other kind of a trial, and so I was pretty familiar with it. And the trial thing, the lack of the trial, wasn't a deal breaker for me at that time.
what's a good, okay, so this is, I mean, because yeah, Amadeus Pro is a Mac program. What is a good technique, or is there a good technique? And this will be my question of the evening. Is there a good technique to use for editing out breathing? I know I probably shouldn't stress over it too much, but I am recording the ACB community events schedule for their phone system, and they've recently realized they can submit an MP3 file, and that's all great. Well, I've been sick lately, and so when I'm reading, I'm just breathing more heavily, and I've like to try to cut some of that out. And I've done okay with it, but it takes forever. Maybe is that just something, is there a good other, like setting P for your mark, and then going to the end where you want to do, and then command left arrow to get rid of that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what Herbie showed me. But is there some even fancier, snazzier automated thing that can kind of do some of that, or no?
There's eliminate silence, which is a pretty crummy version of
Mm-hmm.
eliminating silence, as far as I know, as
This
compared with
is
other
Herbie.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Herbie.
Pete. Okay, well, go
Okay.
ahead. Pete, Herbie, and then Pete. I guess I don't know. Whatever. Go
Sure.
ahead, Herbie.
Okay, actually, after we're done with this, I do have a new question entirely. But first of all, as a general rule, professional editors do not recommend automated tasks for editing because you need to know what's going on and it can
Yeah.
mess things up. So I would not, as a general rule, I'd be very leery about any automated solution. You still have to double check your
Yeah,
work.
I agree.
The same
This is
with why they
Brad.
say don't use automatic braille translation software when you're producing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Go ahead, Brad.
But the
Yeah, I would think you wouldn't want to if you want to remove your breathing. I wouldn't think you would want to completely clip it out because that's going to make your whole thing
No.
sound sped up. Wouldn't you?
No.
And this is
no,
but
you
wouldn't
can,
you just want to put silence in place of the breathing?
which you can do. Yeah, but
Because that
that
way it
command
keeps your
that
cadence normal.
the
Well,
setting of
it's
the P marker, Chanel,
uh
and
huh.
then allowing your play to run, and then setting your insertion point with Command Y and then left arrow. Once you select your area that you want to edit, that's the best way to do it.
Okay.
And you
Yeah.
can apply a silence that is equal to the length of the selection, the duration of the selection. So if you start then and then finish the silence now, 2 seconds later, or more commonly it would be like a 2 milliseconds or half a second or something. You can eliminate the breathing completely, and apply a silence, a dead silence in lieu of it. So your pace and your tempo are still the same, Brad. Or
Yeah.
you can adjust the length of it, tweak it a little bit so it doesn't sound like the complete silence. Like if you got a half second of breathing and you
Yeah.
apply silence, that's a long
It
pause.
is, and that's yeah.
But you can edit those in length and make them longer or shorter and do all kinds of things. But that's your main edit command is start with your P marker and then let your playhead run. Hit your command Y, which is your insertion point, and then left arrow. And then pick out whatever periods you want to edit, whether it's amplifying a particular word or a phrase, or deleting it completely, or modifying it some way, applying some sort of a special effect or something. So
And is there a quick way I can, if I know that there's a spot that, okay, I'm gonna want to cut this, and I don't want to take the time to pause. And is there like a quick key you can press to kind of put a beep or a something in there that hey, I'm gonna go back to this spot and
and yeah, and do it in bulk, for example, do it for lengthy periods of time, and then you can do a Command Shift M sets a marker. And but you can just set your P marker. You can do your P on the fly,
right.
and those stay. So if you wanted to go through like a minute or a 10 minute
Well, I was just thinking when
recording,
I'm recording and I'm doing it all at once, and sometimes it's just easier to do one big take and then go back and
hmm
edit. But I
yeah,
know, we're okay. Oops, I did this a bunch of times, and after this time is the one that I want to keep. So I want to mark this particular spot because I wasn't going to have to go listen to myself 10 times.
you can
No,
just find the beginning of each of those spots and press P, and it continues to play.
right,
And then just do the command Y, which is at the other end of whatever section or selection
right.
part that
Yeah.
you do want
This
to edit.
this
And
is
I
Sandra.
know I've taken a lot to, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I learned everything from Pete, so I'm not going to contradict or say anything. But just one more thing I wanted to add about that I really find useful is that once you've selected it, you've marked it with the P and then the Control Y, maybe the insertion point, and then the left arrow, like Pete was saying, and then you can
hmm
hit the E so you can hear how it's going to sound
hmm
without it.
It's
Like,
a preview feature,
Oh,
exactly.
so that's really helpful.
Yeah.
okay.
And then the
You'll
other
hear,
thing,
you can
oh,
set that, sorry, Insomnia,
yeah.
but you can set it up to 2 seconds before the edit and 2 seconds after the edit. So you can preview what it will sound like after you've made the edit.
Okay. Oh,
It's
that's
really
good to
a
know.
godsend,
But
yeah.
this is Sonia. One last
Yeah.
thing about your moving to different points. You can do Command G, and then you can move to different points in your response.
Right. Okay.
And then the
That's your
last thing.
go-to command, and it will go to a timestamp, whatever timestamp you want to enter on the in the command. You can set it for 10 minutes and 3 seconds and 400 milliseconds if you know that's where your marker is. And it
Right.
goes right there.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Thank
thanks
you.
Oh, go ahead, Sandhya.
I just want to say thank you. I got the address thing to work, so thanks, everybody. Okay.
Cool.
Oh, good. All right. Yay. All right. Well, thanks. That's great. Definitely some useful info. And for those of you who don't care anything about Amadeus, well, we will get on to other topics now. But
So this is
yeah,
Herbie with a new topic.
sure.
Okay, so this one's a strange one for me. So I'm running Chanel's old 2017 Mac as a backup computer now in place of the old 2013 one. But for some reason, when I go to show the notification center, I am only seeing widgets and not notifications.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you uninteract and then
Yep.
okay,
I
weird.
tried that.
Is anybody else, are you sure there are notifications?
Yes, there's even some. I checked to make sure they were on. I checked to make some even apps have have permission to access notifications.
Did she use the word sabotage, Herbie?
Good. Yep.
No. Well, okay. Anybody else have any idea to get those pesky notifications to actually show up? Huh. The only thing I can do is make sure you're fully uninteracted out as much as you can uninteract and then, via right and via
Yep,
left and
that's
then
what I thought.
reinteract.
And nope, because when I go here, I've got widgets grid and edit widgets. I can't uninteract. I can interact with widgets.
Okay.
And if I go to notifications in the system settings, let's see. Thank you. Let's get here. Heading notification center. When unlocked, show previous pop-up button. Let's see. Is there anything else? Oh, it's saying I have to hide. Oh, this is interesting.
What?
I guess I might have to do something with the clock in the menu bar. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, I'm going to...
Okay. Well, you get back to us on that. Figure that out and let us know.
I will.
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad.
Sorry, I'd stepped away and I'm back. I have found that when in that situation, it's because there aren't any in the notifications in the notification center.
Yeah.
So this is
they
Herbie.
pop up, they go away. A lot of times there may be on-screen notifications, and sometimes they show up in it. Like I get these Dropbox,
Oh,
Herbie's
yeah.
added something to Dropbox, Herbie deleted something. And those I have those set to be persistent that stay in the upper right corner, and I can get to those VON. And if there's something there, it'll tell me, but they should also show up when I check the notification center. But I have other things that pop up, announce themselves, and just go away. And they're not in there. So I'm just thinking you just don't have any right now.
Right, no, the clock in the menu bar seems to be, there seems to be a relation.
What, I'm sorry, what does the clock in the menu bar?
So, no, there actually definitely were some notifications.
He got some sort of thing about checking the clock in the menu bar settings. I
got no
Okay,
clue.
so I see what, this is weird. Okay, so it is showing the notifications. But like on my Mac, there's a clear thing that says notifications here. I just have to interact right away. But if I actually look at it with VO left and VO right, it's not showing the notification center. So this is...
Well, okay.
So,
well, you said it
so
gave you a message about the clock.
No, I tried the pressing the clock and it also brings up the same notification center.
Okay.
But no, so it's totally weird. Okay, like, so on my Mac, unless they've done... Let's see, let's bring up notifications on here. Okay, so like on my Mac, newer Mac, if I do VO for notifications, I have a thing that says notifications. I can interact with it.
Yeah. And that's how it was on the
On
old Mac.
but on the old Mac, if I do VOO, it shows widgets. But if I immediately interact without doing any VO arrowing, I can get to the notifications.
Hmm.
It's a little interesting.
Okay.
Are you sure you didn't sabotage anything?
Well,
I
I'm
just
not
did
sure what
mine,
sort of
and
message you got about the clock. I'm
It's
confused
if
as
you look in
yeah,
the notifications in the system settings, it says press the clock in the upper right hand corner to access the notification center. So I
oh,
guess that's how sighted people do it.
okay.
That's
All
what
Brad,
right,
I
go
he's
just
ahead,
saying about the
Brad.
clock.
I just opened mine with VOO, and then I
Yep.
interacted like Herbie said. And I didn't touch the arrows, and it said no notifications.
And I did actually have some notifications. There was one from messages, face. So there were some.
So mine, I do VOO and it says notifications list, and I
Yep.
interact.
And that's what I do on mine as well. But on the old one, it does not
Messages,
look like
yep.
that. So
Weird.
that is weird.
Okay. Well, yeah. That's
I think I need to give it some therapy sessions. I don't know what you did to it, but
Probably.
I just opened mine with VOO and I got widgets,
oh, so you
widgets
did get
grid.
widgets on
I got
yours.
a widgets grid, and yeah, and I interacted with that, and I didn't see anything.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
I
but
did that by not interacting.
if you do VOO and you interact again, I bet you'll get to you'll see notifications without touching anything else. Just do the VOO and
Okay,
then
all right, let me try it.
And I can also open that thing without having to do VOO. If I take two fingers and swipe in from the right edge of the trackpad, it also opens it, which it's
yeah.
done as long
yeah.
as I've been using a Mac.
But
But
that's not a voiceover gesture,
that
and
is true, but it does the same thing.
Yeah.
yeah. But if
I'm
your
still in
trackpad
there.
commander would have to be off for
Nope.
that to
Yeah,
work.
of course. I never used the trackpad commander.
So, well, I was just letting people know,
Yeah, that is true. Actually,
because
let's see.
So Pete is at least able to duplicate it.
Oh
So
no, it does it when the trackpad commander is on too,
okay.
because I just did it. And then two finger swipe from somewhere in the trackpad to the right edge closes it. But
That's probably why I
I
have all kinds of problems with the trackpad, is it's doing all these other gestures that I don't know what in the heck they're supposed to be doing, so or that they exist. So yeah, I wish the trackpad could just be used exclusively for yeah,
yeah,
voiceover.
it does. It still works as a track. You know, in the early days when I first got a Mac 12 years ago, if you turn trackpad commander on, it didn't do anything but voiceover stuff.
No, I know. Yeah, it
And
was
at
that way on
some
my old
point,
Mac.
it changed. Well, I'm
Yeah.
talking probably before that. I'm thinking, well, yeah, maybe 2014, 15. But
Yeah.
it changed. And that's kind of when I stopped using it because it just was more complicated and weird.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, who would like to ask another question?
hopefully it's one people can answer too.
Yeah, I feel bad for those people we have here trying to consider a Mac, and they're going, "What on earth are
What
all of
are
you
they
talking
talking
about?
about?
All these things that." But
It'll all
a
make
Mac
sense
is
to
a
you one day.
what? What?
It says it'll all make sense to you one day.
Yeah, yeah. So I was browsing the AppleVis site. A lot of my quote unquote reading assignments for the class come from AppleVis, and I was just looking to see, what new stuff they've posted. I don't always look too often, but one thing I saw, I think it's probably been on there for a while, is I knew that you could use Spotlight to basically look up a word or really look up anything, but if you want to get a specific definition, if you want to get the dictionary to open, you type in whatever word you're looking for and then you type Command L, and that brings up your default dictionary. So I thought that was kind of useful.
You type it into Spotlight search?
Yeah, so you go to Spotlight with Command Space,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then you type in your word, and then Command
Command L.
L. Yep. Oh. All right. So does anyone else have a question? One great thing I was able to do. So voice, I didn't import anything over to the new Mac. I just wanted to set everything up fresh because I do everything from the cloud and, that's backup, save everything. But it was really great to realized that I had my voiceover preferences in the cloud, and because I'd been doing a lot of customizations with the numpad commander, and so I could just import those in the voiceover utility. You can create a set of voiceover preferences and export them, and then you can import those preferences. Sometimes when I teach my class, I set everything to default, and then when I'm done with a particular lesson, I just re-import my settings, and voila, it's the way I want it. So that is a very handy tool that VoiceOver provides. Portable preferences allows you basically to take your VoiceOver preferences and put them on a thumb drive. It's kind of the same as importing and exporting, but the difference with portable preferences is it puts it on a thumb drive, and then a Mac can automatically recognize that thumb drive contains VoiceOver preferences, and it'll prompt you, do you want to use these? Um, and you can do that if you use different computers, or maybe you're going to help somebody else on their computer and you want to be able to, use your own voiceover settings. So, again, a very handy feature that voiceover has that I didn't really even start fully taking advantage of until last year. So, does anyone have any questions?
Audio now unmuted. Chanelle, it's Myrna. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Myrna.
Hi, Chanelle. So a couple of months ago, and I'm sorry I didn't come last month, but
That's okay.
I didn't get any notifications, and now I know how to get them on the mailing list and stuff. So I had this deal with character palette, and Herbie was trying to help.
Oh, yes.
Well, I think what happens if you hit the FN key twice, you get into this thing. And I wasn't in it all day. I was doing stuff on the web, and it didn't happen all day. And I go, oh, and it just happened a little while ago. So
I had to fix that myself too.
It seems like if you hit the FN, that's how you get out of it. And if you hit the FN twice, you're really in it, and you just can't. I have a question though. How on JAWS, Brian Harchin did the script so that if you do Windows Alt S when you're on Zoom, you disable.
Yes. Okay. Oh, I wish. Yeah.
There isn't, huh? There's nothing.
You have to basically disable all of your alerts. What you would do is you go into your Zoom settings, and then you go to accessibility. So Command comma, then there's this table you have to interact with. You go all the way down to accessibility. Then you uninteract. Then to the right of that, there's a scroll area, I think. And then in that scroll area, there is a table for screen reader alerts. Okay. And Windows actually has the same thing too. So you can, even if somebody isn't technically using whatever, doesn't have the scripts, they can check and uncheck all these boxes. But even if you uncheck all of them, you're still going to hear things like when the host or co-host is changed, or well, you might not if you're a host. I can't remember. You'll also Zoom also is this really annoying bug right now where we constantly, if somebody has a hand raised, it's always going to announce when somebody puts up their hand, and it not only announces it, but it pops up in a separate window. So there's still some bugs that are kind of being worked out. Now, that one is only though applies if you're the host or co-host. A lot of meetings I go to, I'm the host or co-host, so I get all these alerts.
Yeah, but if you're a participant, no. So tell me again, you're going to go where now to the
You're
first?
going to go into setting. You're going to go in your Zoom app. You'll
Okay,
open Zoom
right.
and
Go
do
to
Command
settings.
comma and
Right.
then down to accessibility.
Okay.
And then you done interact with that table. Then find the scroll area, interact. Find the another table that says like screen reader
Okay.
alerts, and you interact in there. And then there's a bunch of boxes to check and uncheck.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because it's so, so and so left the meeting. So,
Yeah, yep.
and also, because when you're unmuted and it happens, other people are hearing your alerts and it's like,
Yeah, if you're not using headphones, they do.
right,
Yep.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly. And what kind of last thing, what kind of external, because when you were saying about this trackpad was driving me nuts today because I don't know what, all of a sudden I'm in Finder and I go, I know why, it's the trackpad. I'm really barely touching anything.
Yeah, I know.
What are you using as an external keyboard? Because I'm thinking of doing it.
Well, okay, it's a bit expensive, but it's worth it. It's the Apple Magic Keyboard with numeric keypad.
Oh,
You
okay.
could just use the regular Apple Magic Keyboard if you don't care about the numpad. For me personally, the numpad has really, I
Yeah,
just hate
yeah.
holding down tons and
I do
tons of
too. I
keys.
do
And
too.
so the numpad has really kind of almost just changed my Mac experience
You're
recently.
talking the
So
numpad
I'm,
commander.
yeah, because of numpad
Yeah.
commander. So yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I was thinking that too, because I'm thinking I'd like a numpad. So that would be really good. Just because I'm working with the Magic Keyboard on the iPad.
okay.
And of course it doesn't have it doesn't
Right. It's just the
have, but
smaller one.
no, small,
Yeah.
yeah. But so this is so you look for so you go to the Apple store and you do the Apple Magic Keyboard with a numpad.
With, I think it's called with numeric keypad. Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, because today it was
$179.
driving me out of my mind. And I know what her was
Yeah.
saying about the widgets. I at one point got this widget grid and I was trying to get I didn't even ask for notifications that I got into this widget grid. And I'm thinking a lot of it is the trackpad. I'm pretty sure.
Email has joined the meeting.
Because on the PCs, if I can, I turn the trackpads off on laptops.
Right. And it's kind of hard to do that on the Mac. You can't turn them totally off.
This is Brad. Actually, there's a
You can?
setting under accessibility
Yeah.
that will allow the trackpad to be disabled if an external mouse
Yeah, that I know.
is present.
That I know.
If you have an external
If
mouse.
you have an external, but you can
Yeah.
If you
also,
don't.
like I've got Logitech mouse, just plug the dongle in. You don't even have to have the mouse around or have it turned
Right.
on. Just the dongle plugged in will do it.
Hey, maybe that's better than, well, it's going to take less room than getting external keyboard, and a lot less money.
You could buy a cheap Logitech mouse for $20 if it's worth it to keep you from being irritated by the trackpad.
Yeah, but it's like a toss-up because I'd like the idea of having, a keyboard with a number pad, because then you could use a numpad commander and that would be really good.
Yeah.
I'll have to investigate and say, okay, how much is this? And, but that's good. No, thank you.
But the numpad commander, I mean, there's some things there that were great, but I wasn't really willing. I was like, oh, this is, it's different than how you're going to use it for JAWS, and it's you really, it's one thing, that is one thing you really want to customize kind of your own way. They give you a bunch of things that are in there, but the option that I had, at least on my keyboard, is press globe symbol with meridians, and the option, my default, I think, was show emoji and symbols. And so once I changed that to do nothing, then I didn't have that problem, because I had the same problem when I first got this new computer. So.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to look into that, really.
Yep.
And why they call it that now instead of the FN key is
I don't know.
No,
yeah.
That's what they call, when I was trying to change this character palette, if you go in there and it's called emoji and symbols, that's exactly what it was called.
Well, they call the function key the globe key. So
it's got a picture of a globe on it.
Yeah.
And with longitude lines on it, which are meridians.
Oh, okay. So that's why.
So it's like a little world, little globe with, longitude lines on it. So it looks like the
Because I hit
globe.
that and I go, globe key? Well, what globe key?
Yeah, it's what these.
Yeah, I know.
It's the FN key.
Yeah. And
Yep.
I
And
love your
VoiceOver, I
hint.
think, still calls it the FN key if you press
I
it.
love your hint about the XML with Bookshare. I never thought of doing that, but that's I was thinking, voice stream reader on the Mac because
There is that, but it's kind of pricey.
yes, it is. They're now doing subscription. In fact, they're supposedly doing subscription on iOS. I got in
Yeah,
real early, so I never
me
had to
too.
do that. So, but yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Good, thank you.
Great. Well, thank
I'm gonna see if I
you.
can mute myself again.
Okay. Thanks for being here.
This is
Oh,
Gail.
yeah, Gail, go ahead.
I have a question. Was Brad talking about a mouse? Because, I know the MacBook Air comes with a trackpad, but I didn't know. Brad, do you also use a mouse?
I have, but I don't. I mean,
okay, I wasn't sure how, what situation
if you plug in any kind of USB mouse, it will work.
Okay, I mean, I remember
the trackpad will still work too, but there is an option in accessibility under, I can't remember where, I have to go find it. But if you plug in, if a external mouse is present, it will disable the trackpad. That's just an option for, if you have trouble bumping the trackpad and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But if you're low vision and prefer a mouse, you can certainly plug one in and it'll just work.
Okay. Well, I don't have any vision, but I was just curious. Okay, because I did use the mouse on the, when I had Word on the regular computer. I mean, PC rather.
All right. Well, thanks, Gail. Yeah, it's definitely an option to consider, plugging in a mouse so you can disable your trackpad and then you don't have to accidentally. What happens is some of us bump into the keyboard and then it toggles something on the trackpad and gets into stuff we don't want it to get into. So great.
Can I say something? It's Mary Ellen.
Oh, yes. Go ahead, Mary Ellen.
There is a setting in in system settings, and it's in the dock and desktop.
Oh,
and it's called, I believe it's called Rounded Corners.
Oh.
And it lets you, I guess, soften I've never worked with it. I've just, went in there when John Panarese was talking about it. And apparently it, softens it. So if you bump up against it like I do with my MacBook Pro, it softens it, and you can, I think what you can do is move, your trackpad, like Brad was talking about, where you move it, to a different part of the screen. But it's called Rounded Corners, and it's you have to really drill down in this setting, but it's all the way over to the end to the right.
Okay. Yes, Brad.
I thought all that did was it was a visual effect that it gave Finder windows and other windows on the desktop a rounded edge instead of a squared off edge. And other than that, it was irrelevant to someone that can't see them. It was just a visual effect.
Well, I thought, John, the way he described it in this More with the Mac, he did this, he does these courses every year, and he did this wonderful, and I highly, highly, highly recommend his training class on the system settings. And he, went into this and talked about it and, showed us where it resides. But I was under the impression that it did something else, but I went in and kind of played with it a little bit, but I didn't, do anything with it. And with this new Mac, I didn't even set a trackpad up with it. So.
Okay. Well, I was kind of looking. I don't see anything about soft corners, but something definitely to look at. Yeah, it seems John Panarese definitely has a lot of great stuff out there. And yeah, thanks for the info, and we'll have to follow up on that.
Pete, with a quick question.
Sure, Pete, go ahead.
Mary Ellen, does he offer live training classes on various topics, or are they the recorded ones?
I think he does, but he does charge a fee.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I purchased a couple of those little $40 ones, $25 ones, quick bites or whatever they call them. Yeah, he's really good.
Yep.
Speaking of that, I do have a question.
Okay, so let's
sorry.
let me go to Brad because he did say his name, and then we'll go back to Mary Ellen.
Just before we move on, I was going to say there are a number of other visual effects in your desktop and dock system. Like there's a little thing when you open a program, does it like spring up?
The genie effect, you can turn that off.
There's something about that. I can't remember. One of them is it springs up or bounces, or they're just some visual things, and they're neat. But if you have either little or no vision, it's like, what doesn't, I don't find it matters what you've got them set on. You can't tell it's doing what it's doing. There's another one when you minimize a window into the dock, it does some little visual effect. The iPhone does all kinds of these too. But
minimize window into application, animate open applications. I just
I think that's where it bounces. I think that may be
scale effect or genie effect for the minimize windows using. So you can definitely customize some of those. So all right. So and thanks for that. Go ahead, Mary Ellen.
Okay. Before I brought my 2014 Mac Mini over to the Apple graveyard, I had made a mailbox, and it had the John Panarese tutorials in it. And what I did was I exported it to a stick drive. And now I want to put this on this new studio. And do I have to go through all kinds of security things to get that on there, or how do I do it?
So did you do just like did you just download the file or put the files, the audio files or whatever?
Yes.
So if it's just audio files, you should have no problem. If you were, you said something about creating or exporting a mailbox.
Well, what happened was they emailed me, each file, because I didn't buy these tutorials all at once. And they would email me the file. And I made this mailbox, and I moved these files from my inbox into that mailbox because I did not know what else to do with them. And everybody kept saying, put them in Dropbox. Well, I don't know thing one about Dropbox. I mean, it's just a total mystery to me. And so these files are in this mailbox, and I can go in this mailbox and interact to select a file, open it up, and play it.
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad.
Do you still have that Mac?
Do I what?
Do you still have that Mac?
No, I got rid of it.
Sounds to me like what you did is you moved that stuff out of your inbox and you made a local mailbox. Okay?
Yeah.
And you moved them in there. And when you exported them, I'm not sure. I've never tried to import. I'd have to look. But probably, I don't know who your mail provider is, but if you had made a separate mailbox that's under your parent folder, like like I use ATT Yahoo, some people use Gmail. If you had made a mailbox that's in your email account, then when you signed into your email account on a new machine or any machine, that folder would show up. But I suspect that without knowing any, I mean, have you looked at your email account and see if that folder is there?
No.
Okay. You probably made a local account, and
It
I
would be my
look.
Cox account.
Yeah. Well, have you set that up on your new Mac?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this folder's not there.
I haven't looked.
If you set it up under your Cox account, and your Cox account is using IMAP, then that mailbox should be available, or folder actually should be available on any machine that's signed into your Cox account.
Oh, how
if
nice.
not, you have that on like a flash drive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Go in the mail. You may be able to. I've never tried this, but you may be able to. If you were able to export it, it seems to me you should be able to import it. So I would go into your Apple Mail and start searching through all of the pull down menus. And wherever you had export, there should be import, and you may be able to import it. But those are emails. And that's why you couldn't have put that stuff in Dropbox. People didn't understand what they were talking about. They thought that's files, but these are emails, and emails have to, it's folder from your Apple Mail program. If you may be able to import it. I've never done it. I'd have to go look and see.
Okay, well, that's something to play with, because I don't, these came from about 2016 and 2017, but most of this stuff is still very, very relevant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things very rarely change on the Mac.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, if they were just MP3 files, which I seem to remember his files being, you could have, but yeah, if you didn't get the files from the emails, then definitely go with what Brad said. So, all right. Does anyone else have a question?
This is Brad. I'm looking at the mail thing.
Uh-huh.
Under the pull down menu for mailboxes, I see export, but I don't see import.
Oh.
I see export mailbox ellipsis. So it's going to open a dialog, and I'd have to see what's in there. I see go to favorite mailbox. Nope. Let's see. Let's go to export mailbox ellipsis. It just opens a standard, like little finder window, like a save as kind of dialog box, and asking me where I want to save them.
Interesting.
You might try stick that flash drive in your Mac, navigate to it, see what happens if you try to open it.
Okay. That's weird about no import.
Yeah, if you make a folder, a mailbox folder or mailbox, whatever you want to call them, kind of make sure in the future that you're within how many mail accounts do you have set up? Just one?
Yeah, 3.
3, okay. Well, when you navigate the folder list, you should find up at the top there's favorites, inbox, sent, to whatever, and arrow down using voiceover navigation. You won't find it if you're just using plain arrow. They're there, but voiceover will skip over them. And if you VO either up or down arrow or left or right arrow, you'll go through everything and you will find one that will say the name of the account. And it may say collapsed. It may be expanded, but if you go into there, and then if you actually, you don't even have to do, but you'll find them in there. But there's a way to make a new folder and then a little dialog opens, and it's going to ask you under what parent do you under what mail account do you want to make the folder. And I think by default, there's you can make it on this Mac. I call it local, but they may call it on my Mac.
It's on my Mac.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's a local account. And you exported it, so at least you got it, but I don't see an import folder, import mailbox.
That is very, very strange.
So just stick the flash drive in and see what happens if you try to open it.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you very much.
Good luck with that. And come back next month and let us know how that goes if you're able to recover those.
I would really like to start using those again.
This is Sandhya.
Yes, Sandhya.
I had another question. I was working on my dad's iMac, and I realized I hadn't updated in a while, so it's still on Sierra. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, right? I think we got this, I don't know, how old is that? I got this during Harvey, after Harvey.
Okay.
So, anyway, the question is, so I said, okay, well, I went for, about this Mac, and then software update, and then I clicked update, and then it goes to the App Store, and then it says no apps are available. So shouldn't it automatically know what I need to do or what I need?
You would think.
I never had to pick like Ventura or whatever. I don't
think
that, so it was really weird. So I don't know.
Brad.
Yeah, Brad.
That's because it's way behind. You said it's got Sierra or High Sierra?
Sierra 10 point something.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I can't remember when Harvey was. 2017?
But
chances are you can't update that machine to Ventura. You may be able to go to I don't know, Chanelle, what is it? Monterey?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so far. But that would still get you up to Monterey. But I'd also be
But it's not connecting maybe to the App Store?
Well, what it is it's taking you to the App Store, and it's going to show you, it's showing you the current Mac OS that's available. There are ways to go on the internet and Google, and it will take you to the Mac OS, Mac Store through the website. And you should be able to download other older versions of the Mac OS, but right now it's just showing Ventura, and that machine
actually won't run it. Well, she said it cannot find updates, right? That's what
that's
said,
through
Sandhya?
that's through the
it's not showing anything.
The App Store, because that's how that one used to do updates, was through the App Store.
Right.
But if you open Safari and search for, pick Mac OS Monterey download apple.com, and it will take you to the Apple App Store, and you may be able to download it. Now, the other thing is, you know what? If the machine's working just fine and your dad's happy with it, don't screw it up by trying to update it.
Okay.
The thing is already, that's a 6-year-old Mac.
Keep your hands off.
Yeah, just, I don't know. I mean, what's your dad doing? He doesn't know he's not up to date. He's probably just fine.
He's an
He does internet. He does email. He does some word processing.
Yeah.
You might want to just leave it alone.
Okay.
Come on. You can afford to buy him a new Mac.
I know. I didn't realize it was. I just looked at it and I was like, God, that's a long time ago.
You just bought yourself a new M2. You ought to be able to buy him.
Well, I was going to say those 24-inch M1 iMacs are real nice. They're not the latest and greatest, but he'll never know the difference, and it will run the latest and greatest OS. So,
okay, we'll think about that. Thank you. It's for me.
Right.
We just say it's for him, but it's really for me.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
I have a question for Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen, when you set up your Mac Studio, I heard you say you didn't even hook up a trackpad or anything. Did it allow you to set it up without a pointing device?
Audio now on. What was that? I'm sorry.
Were you able, you said you do not even have a trackpad on your Mac Studio. Were you able to do the initial setup when you turn it on for the first time? Were you able to do that setup without any pointing device connected?
Yep.
Good. They fixed that.
Set it with no keyboard no mouse or trackpad.
Okay. When I set up my wife's M1 iMac 2 years ago, it would not let me I turn it on. It wouldn't, I got no voiceover. I got no nothing. It wouldn't let me do anything and I had Ira look at the screen. I rebooted. I did everything. I messed with it for an hour. And then it suddenly dawned on me, what happens if I plug in a mouse? And I went upstairs and got a Logitech thing and plugged it in with the little dongle. All of a sudden voiceover started talking and it worked. And it's like, oh, you don't run into this with a MacBook Pro, but with the desktop where you supply a keyboard and a mouse. And when I set up my Mac Studio a year ago, I had to have a pointing device. And same thing with the Mac Mini before that. So
yeah, and I spoke with the gentleman on Unmute Presents a couple weeks ago because I was trying to, figure out what I wanted for a new Mac, and and they because I'm talking about the Mac Mini, and they said they had not ran into that problem. So it seems like it's kind of a problem that comes and goes, or it's fixed and then it's not. But hopefully it is truly
pretty
fixed.
Constant. But she was on Big Sur. So there's been Monterey and now Ventura. So they might have fixed it in the OS since then. But no, when she got hers.
But then Desi said hers wasn't fixed, and Desi got her computer fairly recently.
That's
so
right. I remember
I
talking
don't
to her, and
know.
I advised her to be sure and plug in a pointing device. So she may have just plugged it in and just.
No, she had to get help from Apple. I know that. So
interesting.
Excuse me, I have a a wired keyboard. I don't have a Bluetooth keyboard.
But
I do, but I didn't have.
No, my wife had a Bluetooth Magic, like Chanelle's talking about, Magic Bluetooth extended. But until I plugged in some kind of a pointing device, it wouldn't do anything. That's good.
Well, to anybody who ever gets one of these studios or minis or whatever, just know you may have a problem. Be careful. Yeah. And on that note, we are going to end, but hope to see you at either it's iBug's Life on Thursday evening from 7 to 9, or the iBug Night at the Virtual Movies, or iBug Unplugged on Saturday. And I think actually Saturdays is 8 to 10. Or back here Monday night for iBug Buzz. And our next one will be at the end of September. The fourth Tuesday in September is the 26th. So we will see you back here then. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.